The 2026 World Cup kicks off in 28 days, and Iran's national soccer team still doesn't have permission to enter the United States. Not because of paperwork delays or bureaucratic slowdowns, because nearly every player on the roster is legally banned from American soil. The mechanism is straightforward and brutal. In April 2019, President Trump designated Iran's Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps as a foreign terrorist organization. The IRGC isn't a fringe militia, it's the branch of Iran's military where most young men complete their mandatory service. Serve 2 years in the IRGC, which millions of Iranian men are required to do by law, and you're automatically ineligible for a U.S. visa. The designation was political leverage during nuclear negotiations. But it created a legal trap that nobody thought to close. Iran qualified for a World Cup hosted on U.S. soil, and now the State Department is bound by its own rules. FIFA guaranteed Iran a spot. The tournament schedule was published in December. Iran drew New Zealand, Belgium, and Egypt, and all 3 matches were assigned to American venues. June 15 in Los Angeles. June 21 in Los Angeles. June 26 in Seattle. The Islamic Republic's sports minister announced the team would arrive, train, and compete. But the visas never came. The Iranian Football Federation responded with 10 written conditions, delivered to FIFA in early May. The terms are specific: guarantee that no player will be detained at the border because of IRGC service. Guarantee that no visa will be revoked mid-travel, as happened to Iran's head coach in December when his flight to Washington was turned around because of his military record. Guarantee that the U.S. government recognizes these are athletes, not combatants. FIFA has no authority to make those promises. Only the State Department does. And the State Department hasn't said yes. Here's what makes the timing surreal: the United States and Iran have been at war since late February. Not a proxy war, not simmering tensions, direct strikes. The U.S. and Israel launched coordinated attacks on Iranian military infrastructure on February 28. Iran retaliated by closing the Strait of Hormuz, cutting off 20% of the world's oil supply. A fragile ceasefire was brokered on April 8, but as of this week, President Trump said it's on life support. The war is 12 weeks old. The World Cup starts in 4. And yet, in Tucson, Arizona, workers are cutting grass to FIFA specifications. The Kino Sports Complex locked in hotel rooms, meeting spaces, and security protocols back in February to serve as Iran's official training base camp. The facility's director told reporters last week that as far as he's concerned, it's 100% on, and it's never been off. Iran's team is currently training in Turkey, 2 friendlies in Antalya, then they fly to Arizona. The plan is to arrive June 9, 2 days before the tournament opens. The plan assumes the visas will be issued. Nobody knows if they will be. This is not a hypothetical. Italy's soccer federation has publicly positioned itself as a replacement team, should Iran withdraw or be barred. A senior U.S. official floated the idea in April. FIFA immediately denied it had any such plan, but the denial itself confirms how real the risk is. If the State Department doesn't act, the tournament could begin with one of the 32 qualified teams absent, not because they refused to play, but because the host country refused to let them in. The legal structure that created this situation is still active. Biden's administration briefly lifted the visa ban for conscripts in 2022, acknowledging that mandatory military service shouldn't disqualify someone from entry. But the reversal was administrative, not statutory, and the war reversed the reversal. The IRGC is a designated terrorist organization again. The visa ban is back in force. Every Iranian player who served his mandatory time, which is most of them, is technically inadmissible under U.S. immigration law. What happens if the visas don't come? FIFA's rules are unambiguous: a team that fails to appear forfeits. Iran would be eliminated before the opening whistle. Their group opponents would claim wins by default. Millions of Iranians who have nothing to do with the war would watch their team disqualified not for losing on the field, but for being locked out of it. And the US would become the first World Cup host in history to bar a qualified team for political reasons during an active conflict. 28 days from now, SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles is scheduled to host Iran versus New Zealand. The tickets are sold. The grass is cut. The team is training. The only thing missing is the document that says they're allowed to cross the border. And with the war still unresolved and the ceasefire collapsing, that document might never come.